join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll join me for a moment of silence for men and women in uniform and those battling this pandemic. Thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 of us. Yep, we have a quorum at 5:01. Number 2 on the agenda is a conflict of interest. Joe, you want to just one more time fill us in on this?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. This is an opportunity for the board, when they're in session, after they've reviewed their agenda packets, to disclose to other board members and or the public any potential conflicts that they may have with any of the information they're about to vote on. Financial interest, whether it's publicly known or not, would be something that you'd want to bring forward under this item on the agenda, just to make it easier on everybody as you go forward.
Thank you. Number 3 is adjustments to the agenda. We have a couple of them, and then we will then go into executive session. We have an adjustment for the transfer station fire department. You want to fill us in on that, Joe?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I have some information from Mainland Development. They've provided a proposal to the town and the Firemen's Association. Did not make it on your agenda, but I would like to speak to the board about that tonight under old business, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we'll put that under number 9, the last item. Okay, don't let me forget that. Anything else?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll go into executive session to go over, Cindy, you want to, or somebody want to make a motion to go into executive session?
Yeah, I'm making a motion to go into executive session pursuant to MRSA Title I, Chapter 13, Subchapter 1, 4056A for the fire chief's annual performance evaluation.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
3 of us here. Thank you. We've come out of executive session after review of the fire chief for a year. We've decided to keep him. That's a good thing. We're excited about it. Next up is a review and approve the minutes of January 4th. I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the Board of Selectmen's regular meeting for January 4th, 2021 with any corrections or additions.
Second it.
Moved and seconded. Anything? Changes? Ethan, do you have anything to change?
No.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ethan? Thank you.
Aye.
Public to speak under non-agenda items, that would only be you, Mark. All set, thank you. Boards and committees, you have that in front of you. Any questions or comments about boards and committees? Thank you. Consent item, sewer reserve. We're going to ask a young gentleman who knows all about this by the name of Mr. Savage to come tell us all about it.
All right, so in our startup of the snow baking process this year, we were able to spray a couple of days and then had a latent failure in our current control system in our VFD through self-diagnostics and some regular maintenance cleaning wise. And then with a mutual findings from Tim Stevens, our pumps service individual, have found that our control unit is malfunctioned beyond the point of repair. And with that said, also, it is about 2 models past revision or pre-revision. So unfortunately, that is a brain of our operation. We cannot make snow or therefore discharge any product without this component. So what I've done, knowing that, is I've already authorized Tim Stevens to order a new component. We've changed brands, something that he's comfortable with working on, and he actually can walk us through over the phone. rather than have to travel here necessarily. What I've also done with that same component, I've upgraded it for potential, well, with the hopes of future growth with the snowmaking system. We do have 4 additional snow gun platforms that we can put up and our areas to eventually grow or discharge more product. So this control will be able to allow us to do so down the road as we develop. So I'm asking at this point, asking for permission to spend up to $15,000, which will pay for the VFD and installation and setup and full startup and understanding.
The number is $15,000, up to $15,000 for the equipment and installation. Questions?
No.
Kelly? Ethan, any questions?
No, it's all in order.
Okay, I need a motion.
Make a motion that we take up to $15,000 out of the sanitary sewer reserve for the replacement of the snowmaking motor control, also known as the VFD.
I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded. Any more questions? How do you vote, Ethan?
Aye.
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 Everybody's in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, Keith,
We-
thank you for the wonderful description in
I
here.
was hoping that was
Fabulous.
Joe's direction. I'm glad it helps. It helped me kind of process what I should be said.
Fabulous.
Good job. Thank you. There is no correspondence. I'll start off with the CMP lighting update. You have that in your packet. Item number 9. Joe, you want to fill us in?
I do, Mr. Chair, thank you. Since we discussed this a while back and you authorized me to move ahead with CMP, Dennis Marquis has come in and followed up with me and made some suggestions. As noted here, one of them is an additional street light on the bottom of Allen Street. And some are intersections that do not currently have streetlights at them. Dodge Pond, Quimby Pond, Bonnie Point. And his observation is that we've removed, I think, 4 from from Lake Street area, the park area, and perhaps we can get CMP to swap those out 1 for 1. So I wanted to let the board know that Dennis and I have had that discussion. I have shared this with CMP and I'm waiting to hear back from CMP. I talked on the phone with Tasha from CMP and she was waiting for the spreadsheet. I've sent it over and I'm waiting to hear back from her. So the agreement is in place. We've signed that, but they are willing to look at this and see if they can amend that for us.
Great.
So, just wanted to give you an update. And Dennis did take the time to go and do a second inventory after the police department. Dennis went out and looked at all of these and came up with this information. So
Yeah, thank him. Please thank him.
I will.
Any questions? Ethan, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, Mark, do you have any questions? I haven't seen you here yet. Okay, very good. This is just informational. Thank you very much. Next up is, we have a letter from Senator Black requesting support for the 5 county commissioners as opposed to the current 3. Any questions on the letter, and do you want to support
Yeah, that's a good idea, right?
it? Support?
Yes.
Support? Ethan, are you in support?
Absolutely.
Okay, could you come by tomorrow and sign the original document? We'll all sign.
I just have a question. On the bottom of it, it says, please feel free, please let us know. There's like 2 pleases at following 2 sentences. Sorry. And the other thing is that since Franklin County is a very large county and northern Franklin County has been underrepresented in our county government with only 1 vote. Maybe we should add that? Because technically we have 1 vote, so the other 2 votes.
All right, just let me point out that this is the letter that he drafted, correct?
No, we've drafted.
You drafted.
Tracy and I worked on it. Full disclosure, it's based on what the town of Carabasset Valley sent.
Oh, okay, I thought he was setting something
Okay.
up, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
No,
I'm just
so
saying,
let's,
because-
no, let's make these changes and then we
Yeah,
can.
because we only have 1 vote, so the other 2 for Jay and Farmington could outvote us every time. So it's really not fair that the way they split us up, you've got Jay this way, then you got Farmington and Wilton, and then they have the majority of the income going in, but,
Actually,
they would, and Clyde has like all of us, which isn't really fair because we're so much bigger in area. and their interests are not like the same as ours.
Mhm.
So, I don't know.
All right, so we'll make the changes and then come by this week and sign it
Yep.
and get it off to them. Remember too, can you hear me, Ethan? Sorry, my back to you.
Yeah.
Remember too, we can go and testify when this comes to committee.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, maybe just take that second please out and just say, let us know.
No, you did the strategic.
I'm sorry.
All right, very good. We're moving on. Where the heck are we here? Okay, next up is the tax lien foreclosure process. I had asked everybody at the last selectmen's meeting, something that we legally can't do. So Joe's gonna explain to you what the process is, and we'll move from there.
This is a very brief statement, Mr. Chairman. Because the lien process was in progress, it was already happening, the select board, any select board, doesn't have the authority to delay or change any dates. It was slated to go to automatic foreclosure in a few days from the last meeting, and it did go to automatic foreclosure. It now is in the board's territory. So Rebecca and I discussed this for quite a while this morning as tax collector. We talked about it. She's a tax collector. We talked about it. And we're going to bring you back some supplemental information that explains the process a little more, but also gets you up to date on the nature of any foreclosures that exist currently. So that's all I wanted to share with you tonight. I wanted to circle back to that.
So I have a question for you on that. Where the governor has laid out certain things, does that affect any of that?
So in terms of COVID,
Yes.
so the answer is not in this case because the process had already begun.
Okay.
If we had done it a little differently on the front end, there was a little bit more of a grace period.
Mhm.
But once the process has begun, there's no delaying it or changing the dates, unfortunately.
It's state law.
It is statute, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And to address your concern early on, we are looking at primary versus second home issues. So as we get through this process,
Mhm.
it's just my concern, it's my hope that we look at only primary home,
Right.
primary dwelling. Okay, we good with that? Anything on that, Ethan? Did you get all of it?
Yep, I heard it all set.
Okay, very good, very good. Next up is the lot up at the transfer station for the Ridgely Fire Association. Joe, can you explain about mainland and where we're at?
I can, Mr. Chair. I handed that out. I'm sorry it only came to you tonight. I apologize for that. But I do have the proposal from Mainland Development. At your direction, I worked with the Firemen's Association, and I worked with Mainland also. We went back and forth. And we have a proposal here that makes a fixed cost fee for the survey of $2,000 that will be split evenly between the town of Rangeley and the Firefighters Association. What I understand, they actually have some availability to get going this week, possibly, either later this week or first of next week. In the project goals, this is not binding for us, but I just want to point out something that I'm going to ask Tim to change at Mainland. In project goals, Mr. Chairman, I think it's the end of the first sentence rather. It says Mainland understands that the town would like to convey a 2.5 acre parcel to Rangeley Firefighters Association to be developed as a new fire station and training facility. That's not my understanding. My understanding is it's a display facility and picnic area. Again, this is not binding. You wouldn't be bound to do that if we sign this, but I'm going to ask him to change that language before I sign it. But the request, Mr. Chair, is to, or the recommendation is to spend an amount not to exceed $1,000 from the general reserve for the purposes of this survey.
Doesn't require a motion, your
I make
question.
a motion. I make a motion to spend $1,000 or about. It shouldn't take them long to get the line all marked out.
Get a motion? You second?
I
Second?
have a question.
Yep. Go ahead.
So the question is that, have they agreed to that?
Fire group did, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I
Yeah,
just want to make sure.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Johnny and I talked that through, and then we gave the green light to Mainland to draw this proposal jointly And I will ask Johnny to sign
Yeah.
it, co-sign it with me.
The Firemen's Association recently had a fundraiser that raised them $5,100 to help pay for the children's gifts that they give out. And part of this money is gonna go towards this as well. So
Great.
we're working at that. Ethan, did you hear all that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ethan?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
5-0. Spend $1,000. Okay, next up is number 10, Fire Chief job description. You have a draft in front of you. If you could review that and bring back at our next meeting, questions, comments, concerns. We covered a lot of it tonight, which is really good. And we could implement some or all. You have any questions or comments about that?
No.
Ethan, any questions or comments about that?
Nope, I'll review it and come back to next
Next up
meeting.
on number 11 is department head updates. It's pretty self-explanatory. People have been busy. Calendar, January 20th, tomorrow. It is a Zoom meeting, union negotiations. The committee, select board delegates, town manager, public service director, police chief, and our representative, Annalee Rosenblatt, will be on that meeting as well. So 4 o'clock tomorrow. So
Yeah.
ready to go. Then we'll have information for you. You see on the next page on February 4th, we have a consolidated communications meeting. It will be a Zoom meeting for the broadband proposal presentation. Please make sure you zoom in on that one, Mark, so you can cover that for sure. Very important. Joe has gone, everybody, when I say everybody, the plantations that has a representative, they will be participating in the meeting. They picked that date at our request so that we wouldn't be going back and forth with, we can't do it that day, you know, that kind of stuff. So Joe did that. Thank you very much. Anything you want to add to that, Joe?
No, sir.
Next up is February 9th. Again, another Zoom meeting, a union negotiation team meeting. It will be then whittled down to the 2 delegates from our select board and union representation along with Annalee Rosenblatt. February 15th, select board meeting on President's Day is going to be scheduled, hopefully, if you all agree, the 16th, which is Tuesday at the same time. You all set with that, Ethan?
Yeah, as far as I know, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. TIF is on there just as a reminder, March 9th town meeting for the TIF district timeline. Next up is our chapter 38 town meeting timeline. That's for June 8th. Anything, anybody wants to add to any of that? Questions? Okay, good. Other business, solar power purchase agreement. Joe, why don't you fill us in on what you've come up with?
I will, Mr. Chair, thank you. We got a letter, it's in your packets, we got it a week or 2 ago, notifying us that the project we're affiliated with in Skowhegan is online. So it's making electricity and it's putting it into the grid. We have a meeting scheduled tomorrow. By we, I mean some of my department heads, the treasurer, with Nick Sampson from Revision to talk about how do we budget for that in the year coming up, which is a good segue for me to let you know that we are working on budgets, Mr. Chairman. And you'll see that hopefully in the next few weeks at your table. But that is the report there, Mr. Chairman, is that our project is online and making electricity. And we'll be in touch with them tomorrow to figure out how do we budget for that this year.
Questions? Ethan, questions? Mark, questions? Nope, okay, very good. Select board communications. Start off with you, Cindy.
I've got nothing.
Ethan, anything from you?
No, I actually I have something. I just don't have the material with me. There was 2 Christmas cards sent to the town office, one to my father, one to myself. I was kind of confused by them until I opened them up. This summer, a stranded family on the side of Route 4 was walking to Rangeley to try to find a gas can. They were from DC. They had no idea what they were doing. I told them I was on the board. I'd gladly give them a ride. And then my dad brought them back to their car on the S-turns with some gas, and they sent a very nice card. Invited us out to dinner if we ever get down that way after this pandemic's over.
Thank you, very nice. Thank you for your representation and all. Anything from all of you out there? Tracy, any comments? Nope. Kayla,
All set, thank you.
Rebecca?
No, all set.
Okay, Mark, you got anything? God bless you all. We don't have an executive session. Guess what? I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.